I'm thankful to the organizers for this opportunity. So the topic which I have chosen is neuronal model with distributed delay and ISI distribution. And this is the work which I have done with my students. Okay, now if you look at this whole area, this is a computational neuroscience. And in computational neuroscience, I will be discussing the stochastic aspects of neuronal models, something brief introduction of integrate and fire model, leaky integrate fire model, neuronal models, and power law in ISI distribution, bimodal behavior in ISI distribution. The field of computational neuroscience, as pointed out by Sajanovsky, is an approach to understand the information content of neural signals by modeling the nervous system, including the biophysical, the circuit at the systems level. So biophysical analysis concentrates on the behavior of membrane potential of the neuron. If we look at the neuron, the number of neurons roughly we have 10 to the power 12 and there are 10 to the power 3 dendrites. So roughly we are dealing with a system of the order of 10 to the power 15. It is a massive system. To understand it, even the fastest computers would not be able to unravel the mysteries of even at the physical level. And interestingly, it is a sodium, potassium and calcium ions electrochemical reaction. Way back in 1907, Lessig, when he looked at the brain, at that time they found the sodium, potassium channels were very important, not in the form of channels, but this the propagation of sodium, potassium ions was a very crucial factor in this context. So typically neurons are divided into three main parts: central part, soma, and the axon and dendrites. And axons and dendrites for the transfer of information between neurons. And when two neurons transfer their through synapse, and this membrane potential varies from minus 70 MV to minus 90 MV. Okay, so what I would be dealing with, I'm sorry it would be all mathematical, this is going to be very mathematical topic, but so stochastic neuronal models are formulated as a random walk problem, because interesting thing is, given this membrane potential, this membrane potential starts moving in a random manner. Once it reaches a spike, it generates, once it reaches the threshold, it generates a spike. People have been interested, like 1952, the person who did some very fundamental work, Hodgkin and Huxley, they got Nobel Prize for the work, and even after 60 years, we find the same model and hundreds of papers are being published, and that is one of the very biophysical mechanisms which they suggested, Hodgkin and Huxley. And other people are also looking at what are the mechanisms by which the potential reaches a threshold and what type of patterns, like which is called inter-spike interval. That is, a spike comes, is generated, and again the membrane potential is reset. Again it increases and reaches a threshold, again a spike is generated, and again it goes, and this is the mechanism, and the distance between spikes, that is inter-spike interval, that is something which is of interest. So given a stimuli, one finds there is a particular inter-spike interval distribution which is observed. And if there are different stimuli, so it will result into different type of inter-spike interval. So one is interested in statistically characterizing that per type of distribution. So in this context, and this also gives the role of information processing in brain. So here you find it's a very multidisciplinary, where you have computer scientists, you have mathematicians, statisticians, electrical engineers, you have persons from varied backgrounds. They are trying to assess, and then whole area of consciousness, philosophy, psychologists. So persons from all different backgrounds are trying to address the basic issues of brain. And interestingly, this is an area which is almost like 20, 30 years. In US, United States, people have been working in this. Every university has several departments engaged in the area of brain science. I was recently in Seattle, and what I found that each department of physics has a person, neuroscientist, computer science has a neuroscientist, in health sciences there are neuroscientists. Even in the same university, there are 20 or 30 persons working in the area of neuroscience. But in our country, somehow, it started very late, and some attempt are there at ISC, then NBRC. Now, this institute also has a center for consciousness, where this brain, but this has to be at a massive level if we want to understand the complexity and how the brain functions and all these basic fundamental issues. So the dynamics of membrane potential is in terms of excitatory and inhibitory inputs governed by underlying stochastic process, Poisson process. Because basically in all these things, it is a noise, the fluctuations in the brain is very, very important. Because why it happens that brain itself, you find there are multiple equilibria. The system can get into multiple equilibria, and how to drive system out of one state to another, the noise plays a major role. And it's this noise which can give you how much the information is transmitted from one state to another state. So the stochastic noise drives the potential to reach a threshold value where a spike is generated and the membrane potential is reset to its resting potential. Okay, this is one of the very fundamental models, very simple model, integrate fire model. As I pointed out, this was Gerstein and Mandelbrot. Mandelbrot, 1964, he is also very interesting. This person has been a professor of everything. Mandelbrot, professor of mathematics, professor of computer science, professor of physiology, professor of, you just name anything, professor of physics. Remarkable person. And Mandelbrot, also like in stock market, in professor of finance at Yale, he has been virtually everything. And he was a student of Levy, Paul Levy. And at Paul Levy was a person who was looking at why some. If you look at, there is a very important phenomenon which people are observing now, that is heavy tail distributions. There are many interesting phenomena in nature which depicts a heavy tail. Means the distribution has a very long tail, like unlike Gaussian distribution. Gaussian distribution is one thing which normally we say IQ follows normal distribution, height follows normal distribution, weight follows normal distribution, because everything falls very rapidly, and you will not, like we say, person is 1 meter 6, 1.6, 1. But you will never find a person with 3 meters height, thrice the height. But whereas if you look at the income is something you can have 10,000 rupees per month, 20,000, 100,000, 200,000, million. So you want a person with, like Ambani's, they will follow the long tail distribution, so they are in the heavy tail. So people were looking at why. Some statistically, if you are trying to organize, there are some distributions which are heavy tail distributions. If they are heavy tail distributions, so it was a person like Mandelbrot, his teacher, Paul Levy, he proposed some statistical distributions almost 100 years back, more than 100 years back, that these distributions are with power law distribution. But now this type of distribution they are finding not only in physical system, economic system, even internet traffic follows a characteristic feature which is a heavy tail distribution. Similarly, stock market also has a heavy tail distribution. Even if you look at the DNA nucleotides, entire coding region, non-coding region, that also follows a power law behavior. So this power law behavior, even earthquake, when earthquake comes, again it is a 1 upon F type noise. So this phenomenon, why nature somehow chooses 1 upon F noise, power law, heavy tail, that is, and this phenomenon itself is ubiquitous. And same type of thing people are also observing. If ISI distributions also has a power law distribution, perhaps this will also mimic there must be some signature, what type of pattern, or because even people are thinking that if suppose someone has Parkinson's disease, the ISI distribution depicts some sort of a bimodal behavior. So given this, if one is looking at the ISI distribution which is non-invasive, from that distribution can one say that this is likely that one is likely to suffer with type of disease. So this was a Mandelbrot. He was a student of Paul Levy, and this model which he proposed in 1964, and this model is still widely used. So underlying dynamics is basically it is the membrane potential, mu dt is the drift, and sigma dwt, wt is called Wiener process, that is a Brownian motion process, which describes the stochasticity in the model. Okay, so this means the potential goes like this, and once it reaches a threshold, then there is a spike. Again it is reset, again this membrane dynamics goes, and again there is a spike. So within that spikes, the interval is called inter-spike interval, and if you collect all the statistics, we will get a statistical distribution of inter-spike interval. And this, the drift itself is obtained in terms of excitatory and inhibitory rates lambda e and lambda I with jumps magnitude AE and AI. Similarly, the fluctuations of the neuronal system is found in terms of this. And in integrate fire model, one is interested in, because for the first time when it reaches this threshold, that is called the first passage time problem. And first passage time problems are also very important. These type of problems were first observed in by Schrodinger, was a person who started addressing these problems of first passage time. It is something like, one can say, suppose there is a, and this problem has also been, persons who are in the hospital, what is the duration? This also follows a statistical distribution, which we will get an inverse Gaussian distribution. And these type of distributions you also get when there is a labor, there is a union strike, and then there is a negotiations for the first time when you find that there is an agreement. That is called a first passage time problem. For the first time, the problem is solved, so that is called first passage time problem. So mathematically, one can say that the first passage time problem is infimum of t. For Vt is greater than V threshold when you start. So typically what one finds, it is an inverse Gaussian distribution which has a pattern like this. So many times we find that the distribution typically follows the distribution like this. Then another model which is also, currently you find a lot of papers are coming in this area, that is integrate fire model. That is typically they call it RC circuit. So there is a resistance. So this becomes, mathematically it is described as Ornstein-Rosenzweig process, where dVt equal to minus beta Vt plus mu dt plus sigma dWt. dWt is the Wiener process, the noise, and mu is the drift, and beta is the membrane decay constant. And in this case, unfortunately, though it is a very simple model, the explicit expressions of first passage time problems are not obtained. Only in very few cases, like integrate fire model, people have been able to obtain the first passage time problem. Then there are very special cases in which case they have obtained the first passage time problem. Otherwise, in general, it is not possible to obtain the first passage time problem. Recently, we also argued that all the dynamics is the dV by dt, the rate of change of membrane potential is instantaneously dependent on the potential itself. But usually you find that in all biological systems, there is always a time delay, that it is not instantaneous interaction, it is only after something, after a delay. For example, one can, to fix our idea, when we are driving on the road, if someone changes you are driving and someone changes the direction, immediately you have to act, but it is not instantaneous. There is always a something microsecond or millisecond after which we start responding. So there is always a time delay, and this leads to delayed differential equations. In nature, the instantaneous part is unless only in physical system and the propagation is through velocity of light, but normally there is always a time lag. Particularly like in epidemics, suppose there is a gestation period, only after some time it starts manifesting. So there is a delay differential equation. So that is the argument that propagation delays are encountered because of various pathways having exons. Holden points out that in avian bird. So there are a number of arguments which people have suggested. So we thought that we can generalize this model by introducing the time delay. And if there is a distributed delay mechanism, so dV by dt equal to minus. So there is a time kernel. Kt minus tau is a delay kernel as a memory kernel, and the equation becomes this. And when this delay kernel becomes a delta correlated process, this becomes a stochastic integral differential equation. Mathematically, the problem becomes difficult in the sense, now you have a stochastic differential equation which has got memory. If it is a memory, then the process is not Markovian. Mathematicians always prefer to make the system Markovian, and the mathematics is very well defined, and one can understand the dynamic. But in this case, when we have memory, the system has a delay kernel, that is a memory function. But what the trick is that you always enlarge the state space, and if the state space is enlarged, the system becomes Markovian, and rest mathematical framework which we have been developed can be taken up. And basically what we are assuming that the correlation structure is given as white noise. So there are different type of memory kernels. There are different type of memory kernels. One is a gamma distributed. So in gamma, so you have different type. Again, you can argue that when m equal to 0, it is something like exponential. When m equal to 1, then it's some sort of a gamma. It initially is small, then it picks up, and then. So we can also argue that there are two types of delay, weak delay and the strong delay. Weak delay means you just have the memory only at the time t equal to 0, but strong delay before some time. It is not instantaneous, but whatever happens, say, 5 seconds, milliseconds before, that is going to affect the present state of the system. And if you have a delay kernel, so the system is non-Markovian. In the extended state space, the system can be treated as a Markovian. And this is how we can write down the dynamics. When we analyze this model for weak delay, we find the dynamics can be written like this. Now, interesting thing is, when the system is having a threshold here, the system dynamics goes and teaches this, but there is also a sub-threshold regime where the system is not reaching the threshold. So in the deterministic version, what we are looking at, if there is a dynamics, the system is not reaching that threshold, but within this, it is confined, it is just not reaching this. And within that, the dynamics is, that is called sub-threshold regime, in which the complete explicit description of the system can be obtained in terms of this. Even one can find first passage time problem if you have a sub-threshold dynamics, but the mathematically, again, it becomes quite cumbersome. Similarly, so whenever you have a dynamics, so now in the extended space Vx, you can write down the Fokker-Planck equation, the backward equation, which will give you the first passage time problem. But one can simulate it also as a stochastic differential equation. What we find? That typically we find a first passage time problem. If you just simulate it like Monte Carlo simulations, one find a typical pattern like this. As I pointed out, there is a weak delay, there is a strong delay. If there is a strong delay, then is it t into e minus eta t, and the system has, it is not instantaneous, but something what happened in the previous, say, some time ago, that is going to dominate the dynamics of the system. So mathematically, one can write down all this. And interesting thing is that this can we get bimodal ISI distribution. All literature, which generally is confined to ISI distributions which are unimodal. That there is it goes and there is a single mode and then it differs. But then there are systems which can, so single ISI distribution is like this. This is called unimodal. This is bimodal. Particularly in case of schizophrenia, so there are experimental results where people have obtained that these ISI, empirically they have observed that ISI distributions can be bimodal, can be multimodal. So question is it possible to capture these type of distribution? Like the well-known models are IF model and LIF model. These models are not capable of generating bimodal distributions, and these models are typically gives you unimodal type of distribution. Recently, Sudhir Sharma, we did this emergence of bimodal ISI distributions. So in this case, that it has been noted that when excitatory potential and inhibitory potentials are very close to each other, then the system has lot of fluctuations, pronounced variability, and given this variability and the drift is almost close to zero, question is it possible, can we obtain this type of? So one is interested, we found that this particular model with neuronal model with distributed delay system is capable of generating this type of behavior. So we looked at the generalized model of NMDD, neuronal model with distributed delay. The model turns out to be this. And then we find out the conditions, under what condition this model can result in generation of this. So basically we are looking at under what conditions the subthreshold dynamics can. So typically the problem is if you have a threshold theta here, you have membrane dynamics, it reaches here, then it is reset, again it goes. So these are the spikes. So one is interested in, this is called inter-spike interval. Now our interest is, if we look at the sub-threshold dynamics, because of this, if the system has a dynamics like this, then what happens? The fluctuations when the system is driving, the fluctuations which when the system is here, it is more likely the system will get some spikes from here and is more unlikely to get from here. So you will find that more when the system is here than so these are all the spikes which can result in one mode. And the other spikes when it is here, this can result in this. So superposition of this will give you something like. So it is a sub-threshold dynamics particularly that will give you the conditions. So system has to be non-Markovian, which can give you some distributed delay. If there is a distributed delay, then possibility that one can generate a bimodal pattern like this. So this will also have that a person who is likely to suffer with some type of disease, whether excitatory and inhibitory rates, if they are coming closer and closer, probably that is an onset of. So these conditions we obtain the negative. So under what conditions, if the roots are oscillatory, because given a dynamical system, if the roots is a linear system, if the roots are of the transfer functions are negative, or if it is complex, then it will lead to oscillatory, and if it is oscillatory behavior, then it can. So it may be noted that as if you take the Laplace transform are required to obtain explicit time-dependent behavior, the negative real parts correspond to non-oscillatory evolution of this, whereas the complex leads to damped oscillation in the time-dependent behavior. So we looked at the different type of kernels, particularly the strong kernel with delay. So what we find, the roots of the cubic equations are either real or one real and a pair of complex conjugate. So we find a relationship. If eta is greater than this, we find all the roots are real. But when eta is less than this, there is only one real root. And so we could identify the critical parameter in the system. So long as the critical parameter is below that, system will only have a unimodal distribution. When it reaches that critical point, it will have a bimodal distribution. So mean delay of the kernel will play an important role in the study of transition of ISI distribution from unimodal to bimodal distribution. So this is typically, if you look at the solutions from the model, we find the system has one peak, and then it is, instead of decaying, so there is slightly bump. But whereas in the other case, you find it is just decaying. Again, this particular model, you find the system has a bimodal distribution, one mode in the beginning, the second mode is here. Whereas in this case, so depending on the shape parameter and other parameters of the gamma distribution, one can find under what condition this type of distributions will emerge. Okay, this is about the autocorrelation function and the. Another thing which is, as I pointed out, which is very interesting is the power law or the heavy tail distributions. Now, power law distributions is defined as if there is a random variate x, then probability x is greater than x goes as 1 upon x to the power alpha. That is, for large x, it has a very heavy tail distribution. So the random variate exhibits a high or infinite variance, that is a Pareto distribution. And what Pareto did in the context of income distribution. Italian economist, he looked at the data of income. He found that income follows a heavy tail distribution. And that is what exactly you find that. There are persons who are getting thousands salary per month. There are persons who are getting lakh, who are getting crore, 10 crores, 100 crore. So like we have Ambanis and all these persons. So there's a very heavy tail distribution. And interestingly, what Pareto observed, because he tried to organize the data, the same type of pattern they are finding in internet traffic. Similarly, but if all this, if this has a power law distribution, though it is a ubiquitous, all natural phenomena somehow depicts this. You take nature, earthquake follows a 1 upon F noise, that is a power law, because 1 upon F noise, power law, and heavy tail, all these are synonymous, and so they have the same meaning. But interestingly, all biological phenomena, somehow heartbeat, when heart is getting into heart attacks or fibrillations, so that is 1 upon F noise. If you bang the door, that is 1 upon F noise. If you, on the road, even the soil variability has 1 upon F noise. So somehow nature chooses 1 upon F noise. And that is something which has not been explained, and people have looked at it from different perspectives as to the reason why 1 upon F noise is chosen by nature. So similarly, this, if you just put on Google heavy tail or power law, you will find hundreds and hundreds of papers which have been published in this particular area. So the random variate exhibits a high or infinite variance, that is a Pareto distribution. And this also, if it is a power law, it has a long range dependence. That is autocovariance, because if there is a stochastic process, it is governed by the autocorrelation function or the autocovariance function, which depicts a power law. So it has been widely accepted the presence of power law behavior in wide variety of physical, biological, man-made phenomena. Even the stock market follows a power law behavior. So that is, if S is the stock price, PS is the probability distribution for large S, it behaves as S to the power minus 3. That is a power law behavior. And this is because the persons who got Nobel Prize, Black-Scholes, and then Merton, I think Scholes was not there, one of them. So their model is, Black-Scholes model doesn't depict any power law, that is a log normal process. But if you look at the mechanisms as to why such type of power law is there, even social networks, all this Twitter and this, they also, you find the degree of the node, that is also a power law behavior. So somehow nature is always choose power law behavior. Even in the human behavior, there is one person, I was seeing this fellow, Sterman, not Sterman. He finds that all many human behavior activities, he has published in Physical Review, where you find the activities are related to power law behavior. So this is something which is so interestingly, so we also thought whether we can explain this type of mechanism in the context of computational neuroscience. Even empirically, people are observing, and there are a number of suggestions and possibilities people have suggested to explain this particular mechanism. So according to Jackson, IF model is not, integrate fire model is not capable of producing power law behavior in ISI distribution. Then we argued, super statistical framework means if there are large number of neurons, if they fire together, if there are large number of neurons which are grouped together and fire together, if you collect the statistics of a large number of IF neurons, that can result in power law behavior. And this is also a mechanism which people are trying to understand different type of phenomena as to why several sub-processes, when they group together, fire together. Or you mixture distributions, if you take a large number of variables, random variables, and you just put them together, then it can lead to a mechanism which is based on superstatistics, which can lead to this mechanism. So population of neurons. So population of neurons group together and fire together. If you average over the population of neurons with random parameter, this results in power law behavior in ISI distribution, interspike interval. And this is very well known that if it is an IF model, IF neuron, then this has a distribution which is called inverse Gaussian distribution. We assume that the random rates, lambda E and lambda I, are governed by independent gamma random variates, and lambda E can be written as lambda I plus k, k are independent random variates. If we average over all this, the lambda I rate is this, and the PDF of this. So if you average over all this, by averaging this, we find FSI is t to the power minus gamma. So mathematically, one can show that one can find that inter-spike interval follows a power law behavior. So it means this is a possible mechanism, and this empirically they observed that if several neurons, like 150 neurons, they looked at, and then they collected all the statistics, they found that empirically they were able to observe which a pattern which is a power law behavior. So possibly this is one of the mechanisms which can mimic this type of behavior. And if you look at it, power law is something, PS goes as s to the power minus gamma. If you take log, on the logarithmic scale, log scale, you find that there is a straight line. So if you just simulate it, entire system, and empirically and theoretically also you find the same exponents which characterize the power law. And my last is, this is emergence of power law in ISI distribution of LIF model. Leaky integrate fire model can be also, IF model we could prove that one can get a power law. Now whether LIF model, because LIF model is also known to have a single unimodal distribution, whether it can lead to a emergence of power law. So a theoretical framework is proposed to explain the emergence of power law in spiky neurons where the membrane decay constant is assumed to vary randomly. So if you have a collection of neurons, similar neurons, the decay constant itself would be random variables, and if you collect all the random variables together, then you find that this random variable can be treated as a random variable, this particular decay constant can be treated as a random variable, and what we find, the proposed approach akin to superstatistics provides a plausible mechanism for generating power law behavior in non-equilibrium systems with fluctuations in intensive parameters. So this approach has led to the formulation of a hypothesis that power law behavior in intra-spike interval results when several neurons group together and fire together. If they are possibly, if several neurons are together and they fire together, and if you collect all the statistics, then it can explain this type of behavior. So the mathematically, the problem boils down to, so what we are observing is the conditional distribution ft given beta, and if beta itself is a random variable, if you average over all this, then we find that it can lead to. So if g beta itself is a random variable, that is a gamma distribution. Why we choose gamma? Because gamma has a lot of flexibility. By changing it, the shape parameter, one can mimic different type of shapes of the statistical distributions. So this, when we look at beta itself being a random variable, that is a rate constant, and if we average over all this, what we find, mathematically one can show that we get the density function ft behaves as t to the power minus m minus 3 by 2. Thus the asymptotic behavior of ISI distribution of ensemble of neurons give rise to a power law behavior with exponent which is gamma equal to this. So typically when we get a power law, this is the standard practice that you take the graph log scale, you find that you have to show that it is a. But interestingly, if you look at many phenomena like social networks, in social networks if you represent it as a graph, and as a graph if you say the nodes have a degree distribution, how many gets a test, that itself has a power law distribution, then it will find all heavy tail type of distributions start emerging. So this is the same thing. So probability distribution of ISI LIF model when B is. So even one can argue that is it due to a specific choice of distribution of beta time constant, or is it a generic behavior? So what we did, we looked at different type of distributions of the time constant, some uniformly distributed or a gamma distributed. What we find in all cases, the same, like through simulations we also find the same type of pattern is replicated. Okay, so this is all what I started with, given neuronal model. The well-known models are Hodgkin-Huxley models. Hodgkin-Huxley models also, still it is a non-linear ordinary differential equation. People have put noise and then looked at spiking neurons, what type of pattern is there. Because eventually the interest is, if there is a stimuli, then how much information is transferred, that is a mutual information. Given the system, there you give some stimuli, and then this is the mutual information one computes through these models, and then one can find out how much information is transmitted as a result of this. But all this classical information theoretic framework, people have extensively exploited for calculation of, and that is how neuroscientists from computer science perspectives are interested, from physics point of view also, how much information can be transmitted, what is the maximum rate, at which rate the information in a neuronal system can be transmitted. Then people have looked at these type of models, IF model and LIF models. IF model is widely used. Though it was proposed in 1964 and till date, best of the journals like Neural Computation, MIT Press and these journals keep publishing papers on IF model. Then LIF model is also. So people are interested in, if given this type of stimuli, what type of statistical, are there some signatures for this type of interspike distribution? Then we suggested a model which can take into account the time delay. It is not instantaneous dynamics, there is always a time delay, there is a distributed delay system. And given a distributed delay system, so though it is a threshold, so these essential, all problems becomes highly nonlinear stochastic problems, because given a threshold, the dynamics changes. Because of this threshold, the problems are not analytically amenable. In some cases, we can show analytically, but otherwise, we have to resort to computation. So, but this is a story only of a single neuron. And if they are coupled neurons, all neurons are coupled together, and they are trying to, you are trying to formulate the problem, this problem becomes very, very, almost like difficult as in statistical physics, because if there are large number of particles which are interacting, many body problems, how to solve that type of problem. But the advantage of distributed delay model is that if we have a distributed delay model, though it is a non-Markovian, but analytically the results are, which we have obtained, we could show the emergence of bimodal behavior. And the result which are obtained in real life, that systems are bimodal. ISI distribution is bimodal. If ISI distribution is bimodal, probably that is an suggestion that distributed delay might be very important, particularly in areas like this. If there, then from this we could demonstrate that this distributed delay can lead to bimodal and multimodal type of behavior. Then another dimension is that whether we can generate a power law type of behavior. If power law behavior, if you are looking at, it is known that IF model and LIF models in literature cannot depict. But if you look at ensemble of neurons, when they group together and fire together, we find that it can also mimic the behavior which can mimic the behavior which has a power law behavior. Now, interesting thing would be that given the disease, whether one can say neurological disorders and how this type of ISI distribution, given ISI distribution knowledge about this, employing the Bayesian framework, can one say, given this type of pattern, what type of stimuli was given, which would be responsible for this. So these are the type of questions which we would like to investigate in times to come. Thank you very much.
We have time for a couple of questions. Yes, please.
Could you get 1 over f noise from your modeling?
Yeah, if you have 1 upon f noise, if it is an autocorrelation function, if it is a power law behavior, then this power law behavior, that is an autocorrelation function, if you take the Fourier transform, then this will get 1 upon f noise. So what we have done is ft is depicting a power law heavy tail distributions. So if you take its Fourier transform, it will automatically come. So that is a connection between, I think there was a very interesting paper by Montrol, though it is an old paper, 1983. Montrol, Schlesinger, and there is another third, Bruce West. They wrote that paper, A Tale of Tails. First tail is T-A-L-E. Next tail is T-I-L-S. A tale of tails. So he has argued that all these things, power law, heavy tail, 1 upon f noise, they are intimately Because 1 upon f noise is, particularly people have, if I go back to the history, it was first of all the self-similar structure. This pattern, what is Kolmogorov, 1940, he suggested that turbulence is self-similar structure. Those ideas people have applied now in internet traffic, that is a fractal-like processes. And then when Kolmogorov had done it, the turbulence they tried to, because one of the problems though which has been with mankind is turbulence, weather prediction. And these systems are so non-linear, so ill understood. I think it was Heisenberg. He says, when I die, I will ask God to illuminate me on two things. One is about particle physics, renormalization theory. Why they put infinity and then after that. He said, I'm quite confident God would be able to illuminate me on the first, but about second I doubt very much. So turbulence is something which though has been with us and still people have not understood. And there is a 1 upon f noise turbulence. In Japan, in Tokyo, they used to hold a conference on 1 upon f noise every year, where you find nuclear reactors, you have 1 upon f noise, soil variability has 1 upon f noise. Even music, also you have Kannada music people have analyzed. Even in linguistics, people have 1 upon f noise. So somehow I think these things are nature is. God prefers 1 upon f noise.